The three pillars of Samachar Manthan, like I said, first is coverage. Like it covers all these wide sources: Hindu, Indian Express, PIV, ministry websites. You have other reports coming out, etc. So everything is covered here. After this comes the content, right? And under content, there are 3 or 4 elements that Samachar Manthan has. One is that every week you will have classes. Okay, there will be 2 classes. One is taken by Nishit sir. Another is taken by, especially for the main side of coverage. Another is taken by Poonima ma'am, especially for the prelim side of things. Okay, complete coverage from the PYQ relevance, covered all the current affairs themes for prelims and mains across papers are covered in these weekly classes. We highly recommend not to miss assessments and feedback. Every week there are 5 mains question and 20 prelims question. It helps a lot in revision also. These kind of develop your notes also. You will be able to refer to your current affairs magazine. We start with why it is in the news, right? So that you have a lot of context. Then we will give you some information about, so that you have a quick revision of it. Then you will have some more substantiation of what are the achievements, etc., key amendments, and then we will substantiate all this with our actual UPSC PYQ questions. So you can see this.
Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about your current affairs preparation for UPSC prelims and mains and interview exams. Current affairs in a way is fundamentally different from your static subject preparation. For example, your GS 1, 2, 3, 4, or in prelims also history, geography, economy, polity, etc. Although there are subjects which are interlinked with the static portion in current affairs, etc., and questions have been coming, they are not silo questions, such as like if they're asking only on an economical concept or something like that, right? It will be probably linked with some kind of recent current affairs, etc. So what I'm trying to say, how current affairs preparation is different, is that for your static subjects, you probably have 1 or max 2 sources, your notes, etc. But when it comes to current affairs, it's kind of almost feels like an endless list of references, right? So coverage of your current affairs becomes very important. How wide and how much depth and how much analytical thinking you are developing by reading wide sources. At the same time, you are developing your opinions about certain issues, etc. That is for mains preparation. Mains is mostly about testing your opinions and your understanding of your issue. Are you able to develop multidimensional thinking, etc. In prelims, more often than not, we see like there are a lot of factual questions: what, when, where, how, data, person in news, places in news, map question, etc. So prelims becomes more of a, when it comes to current affairs, becomes more of a factual testing, like do you know this or not, like. But in mains, you kind of have to develop your opinion for the exam, right? So today we'll talk about your current affairs preparation, and this is the only video you need to understand how you should be covering current affairs for your 2026 or 2027 attempt, especially if you're working professional or beginners, right? If you're already part of our famous current affairs program, Samachar Manthan program, and you're lacking somewhere, you're not able to keep up with the pace, etc. So today I'll help you minimize your burden, and I'll exactly tell you how to make the best of your current affairs program, right? That is Samachar Manthan. Now, first of all, I want to say, Samachar Manthan reduces your burden of going through all those sources that I just quoted. So when it comes to coverage, like your Hindu, Indian Express, other local newspaper, could be magazines, Yojana, Kurukshetra, PIV, ministry websites, etc. There are a lot of science magazines, Down to Earth, etc. Then you have other ad hoc or miscellaneous sources, right? So then you have your coaching notes or their magazines, lot of websites, lot of reports which come out, right? So whatever the sources of these news are, one thing is for sure, that Samachar Manthan does not miss them at all. We filter all of those current affairs sources which are there through a lens of what is the most relevant thing for UPSC, basis the way they ask the question, of course the syllabus and the PYQs, etc. So we have a really good pipeline and filtering of all those sources that an aspirant needs to cover, but they don't need to if they are part of Samachar Manthan, right? So Samachar Manthan is the only solution, and it covers all the sources very well, and it is the solution for all your problems. Okay, let's move on to the 3 pillars of Samachar Manthan. Like I said, first is coverage. Like it covers all these wide sources: Hindu, Indian Express, PIV, ministry websites. You have other reports coming out, etc. So everything is covered here. Not just covered, they are filtered, the pipeline is filtered through a lens of PYQs, the nature in which the kind of questions UPSC has been asking. We almost are able to predict what kind of topics you might see in your actual exam in prelims and mains both. Then it comes to the content, like what kind of content does this program provides you, in what shape and form, and what are the things that you need to cover on a weekly or monthly basis under this program. And third is your assessment part, because it's not enough to just passively learn or watch the video, go through the PDF. You at the end of the day will have to understand, can I convert that knowledge into some marks, etc. Because at the end of the day, all of you folks are attempting a competitive, all India level competitive exam. So will you be able to write answers on the topic of that week, etc., which were in the news, right? And that is the answer writing part. Plus it also has a prelims component. So will you be able to attempt certain questions, etc. Again, when it comes to coverage, please understand there are themes in current affairs side of syllabus also, which needs to be covered properly. Every year there are questions on certain committees, maybe every year there are certain question on some world bodies, etc. Anything, some environmental current affairs, some science and tech, new recent phenomena have come up, etc., or some recent innovation, etc., discoveries. So the point is that there are certain themes. If you will just step back and have a better way of analyzing PYQs for current affairs, not static right now, we're talking about current affairs, you will understand that one needs to have a very good thematic coverage of all the current affairs from across the sources, not just Hindu newspaper or Indian Express or certain magazines, but please understand the coverage needs to be very wide, but also that wider coverage needs to be filtered through the lens of PYQs and what is actually relevant for the exam. And that's what we do. Coverage doesn't mean कि मैं बहुत सारा पढ़ लूंगा. You also need to understand वो relevant होना चाहिए. तो current affairs समाचार मंथन आपका वो headache बिल्कुल completely हटा देता है. इससे बाहर कुछ भी नहीं आना है, ठीक है? और ज्यादा भी नहीं पढ़ना है कि बिल्कुल आप because you are living in a FOMO कि सब कुछ पढ़ना पड़ेगा. No, we have reduced that headache for you. So because we'll be covering all the themes which are recurringly asked in UPSC in current affairs preparation, right? Second thing is, which is very important, that under the coverage, when you're reading a current affairs, you need to immediately remember or understand that there are certain topics in the current affairs which can be linked with the static portion, right? Or which can be used in your answers. So let's say if you are writing certain answers, let's say an easy example for GS paper 4, there is a recent case study which came in, let's say, the Hindu newspaper around some officer dealing in a certain situation. And if you're writing an ethics answer in GS paper 4, is it okay? Like, you should be able to use that case study in your answers to substantiate the argument that you are providing, right? So, or if you're writing some economical policy, some policy answer in GS paper 3 or 2, will you be able to quote some judgment, Supreme Court judgment which recently came? Will you be able to quote some policies by the government? Let's say you have a budget coming around February, March. तो उस टाइम पे आप बजट्स में से कुछ डेटा पॉइंट्स उठा के आप यूज कर सकते हो अपने GS3 के आंसर्स में. You have economic survey which is very relevant for your GS3 again. तो आप वहां से आप कुछ उठा के यूज कर सकते हो to substantiate your answers better and to make a very stronger point, right? So what I'm trying to say that in the journey of reading only newspaper, a lot of aspirants take it for granted that they kind of almost forget to interlink their current affairs with the static. ये सिर्फ बोलने से नहीं होता, like you'll have to make your notes in such a manner, your notes should be like that. आप जब आंसर लिख रहे हो तो उसमें अगर आप अपने टेस्ट सीरीज के मॉडल आंसर देख रहे हो तो वहां से कुछ ओरिजिनल पॉइंट उठाने पड़ेंगे. एंड दिस इज व्हाट इज ऑल कवर्ड इन द कवरेज साइड from all the sources, whatever possible. Second, cover all the themes, basis PYQ relevance. And third, that you should be able to interlink your static portion with the current affairs. Now, this is the coverage side of things. After this comes the content, right? And under content, there are 3 or 4 elements that Samachar Manthan has. One is that every week you will have classes. Okay, there will be 2 classes. One is taken by Nishit sir. Another is taken by, especially for the main side of coverage. Another is taken by Poonima ma'am, especially for the prelim side of things. Okay, complete coverage from the PYQ relevance, covered all the current affairs themes for prelims and mains across papers are covered in these weekly classes. These are happening online, offline, both. Okay, once you have attended the classes, then comes a test, which is 5 mains questions you'll be required to answer. Okay, submit those answers. Same time you'll have 20 prelims questions also. So that is again a content. For the mains test, you'll be getting a model answer also. So that is again a part of content. After the class, you'll also have a notes ka PDF of that week Samachar Manthan. So you'll have complete notes. I'll show you everything. That is what the content side of things are. Notes and some notes, model answers, and your video lecture. They will help as a high value addition, kind of to enrich your current static content, right? So these things is what is provided in the content side of things. Then comes assessment and feedback. Whatever answers you are writing, whatever struggle you are going through, whatever the issue you are facing, you're not able to retain current affairs, you don't have a revision strategy, you're failing to interlink your static topics with the with this current affairs topics, you're not able to understand any issue, etc. You have understood the topic but you're not able to write answers. Then you need to sit with the Nishad sir or Purnima ma'am or other mentors here at the CD to make sure that whatever the best outcome you can receive from Samachar Manthan program, you are actually involved in it and you are actually getting it. So we highly recommend not to miss assessments and feedback. Every week there are 5 mains question and 20 prelims question. It helps a lot in revision also. These kind of develop your notes also. You will be able to refer to your current affairs magazine. You'll be able to refer to your other stuff. So I'll quickly walk you through the Samachar Manthan way. Initially, you'll have a Samachar Manthan weekly classes offline and online, like I said. Then you'll have weekly notes. These are high hit ratio notes, meaning there is a high chance you will see a lot of topics covered in weekly notes coming in your actual prelims and mains exam. You'll be required to write a weekly mains test. And you'll get model answers. You'll write 5 questions in your weekly mains test. After that, you'll have a prelims test, which is 20 questions, so that your prelims coverage is also done. And after that, once you have written the copy, your copies will be evaluated and you'll get feedback, right? So let me show you the actual content of Samachar Manthan. This is a recent PDF only. This is week 3, 16 to 22nd of August, which is the last week, right? So this is Samachar Manthan, and let's see how does it look. So you will have all the possible sources covered here, be it newspaper, magazine, etc. They're divided subject wise to have a lot of clarity. For example, from economics, these are the things which were covered. These are again high hit ratios, right? And then you have polity covered, IR covered, science, tech, geography, etc. And then you have other subjects: social justice, environment, art and culture, history, etc. Right? So this is, let's say, economics, IBC amendment bill, and so we start with why it is in the news, right? So that you have a lot of context. Then we will give you some information about, so that you have a quick revision of it. Then you will have some more substantiation of what are the achievements, etc., key amendments, and then we will substantiate all this with a actual UPSC PYQ questions. So you can see this, right? This is minimum public shareholding, why it is in the news, right? Prelims only, mains paper 3, right? This is a PDF that you get every week after the class, so that your notes are prepared properly. This is again UPSC 2024 question, right? So this is how your weekly PDF will look like. These are actual notes. Once you have gone through the class in notes, this is the actual question paper which happened last week, 16 to 20 August. You'll be required to write these questions, okay, for whatever that week's most important current affairs are. You'll be required to write these 5 questions, where you have 1 10 marker and 4 15 marker questions. Once you have submitted the questions, you will also have the model answers. So model answer is divided into approach, body, then you have demand 1, demand 2 of the question, and way forward, so that you have a clear. The most important value that a model answer creates is that not only it helps you see the gaps which you missed in your answers, etc., but you also will get a lot of original points which are very important to add certain more dimensions to your answers, right? So this is how model answer looks. This you get after you have attempted the test, right? And let's talk about certain important things. These are the kind of copies people send us, the aspirants in our program, right? Samachar Manthan program. You'll be able to quickly see the kind of feedback we provide, right? After each comment, you will have an actual suggestion of how to improve, right? This is one of the aspirant whose journey you can clearly see we have captured here. Like this is his first answer, and then as you improve he's writing more apt point, valid point, well elaborated point. This is again the same question but answered in a better way, right? Some more copies, actual understanding, like you will be able to see how the answers are substantiated with data points. Look at here, data points. The introduction itself has a lot of data points and aligning with the demand of the question. Look at how is he underlying and able to understand, okay, talking about this is the first demand, this is the second demand. I have to need to write about the challenges and impact about the manufacturing and exports in India. And then you will be able to see lot of valid points added here, relevant context added here, right? So this is how the improvement happens, and this is only happening because this aspirant is writing multiple times. Each and every week he or she is writing 5 questions. Again, you can see the intro itself is aligning best with the question asked, right? Again, more copies of Samachar Manthan aspirants. These are actual copies of Samachar Manthan aspirants who write answers every week. There are 5 questions, like I showed you this one. 5 questions are asked every week, right? You're required to write these answers. After that, you get these model answers from where you can get a lot of original points. And before that, you have some PDFs like this, so that even if you're not able to attend classes, you actually know every week what is going on. From across all the sources, everything is covered. You don't need to read anything beyond this, right? These are the actual copies of aspirants who keep on improving every week. The idea is that not only you should be able to consume the content. A lot of people think current affairs programs are for people who are not able to finish newspaper or complete newspaper. That's not the point. Please understand the kind of question UPSC has been asking. 2 things are extremely important, non-negotiable. You should be able to very cleverly and intellectually engage in developing the opinions about certain static topic and substantiate that with the current affairs, right? What I'm trying to say, if you're not able to simply understand how can I write answers to this question using static and current affairs knowledge both, you are missing a lot of marks, and you might not. There are papers like GS paper 3, GS paper 2. There's a heavy uses of current affairs, right? And once you have actually understood the topic, can you even write answers like this is very important. So hence we have put in the assessment part also in Samachar Manthan. Like you'll be able to apply the knowledge immediately after the class. Again, more copies of the aspirants who are part of Samachar Manthan program, writing questions every week and improving by adding lot of context, lot of relevant points, lot of well elaborated paragraphs, etc., and lot of good use of data, committees, and whatever the context that can be added, right? In the end, I'll try to show you some of the impact that we have created by Samachar Manthan. This is one of our aspirants, Suraj Tak. He's writing, Samachar Manthan has played a vital role in my prelims and mains preparation. It has greatly enriched my mains preparation. Nishad sir, who is able to teach him the complex issue and give him multi-dimensional insights, helping me write balanced and analytical answer across GS paper with far more confidence, right? Same is for this. It ensured better retention of current affairs, which is the Poonma Mem's class, again a part of Samachar Manthan, right? I'll show you a few more. Samachar Manthan is a game changer for me. It completely transformed my approach to current affairs. I realized that simply reading the newspaper isn't enough. A civil servant must analyze news with depth and perspective. Like I said, reading a newspaper, it has value, it has a habit building phenomena involved in it, but please understand that's not enough. Unless you're able to analyze properly, unless you're able to develop opinions, really understand issues, interlink with static, and can you also write really good answers? That's when Samachar Manthan, those are the kind of we believe we are solving with Samachar Manthan. Again, one of our students, Shayans Raj, writing us gratitude towards Samachar Manthan class, right? So the emphasis Nishit sir places on linking static knowledge with ongoing developments has helped me not only enrich my answers, but also present them in a more coherent and exam-friendly manner. Samachar Manthan program and the test based on these classes have been extremely productive. They serve both as a revision tool and practical exercise in converting classroom learning into effective written answers. This combination has provided me with exactly the kind of practice and confidence needed for UPSC exams. This is what I am talking about, that only classes etc doesn't help, only note making doesn't help. This is the only program which immediately tests your knowledge for the week. After the end of the week, you will have a 5-question paper you need to write. You'll get model answers, you get notes, you get classes done, you have your notes ready, you have written answers about the issue. That is also a secondary reference point. You are enriching your answers. Then you're sitting with the mentor and taking feedback on the answer. Your answers are getting evaluated. That is for mains. You write 20 questions, MCQ based question for prelims also. So your prelims is also getting tested. So these are some of the students who write to us. For example, I was overwhelmed. I'm a working professional in a startup. I was overwhelmed by the abundance of resources online, especially for the current affairs. That's when I came across Samachar Manthan, and I got a structural guidance, etc. Right. So these are the things. This is one of our students texting us, sir, can you please convey my message to Nishit sir that his teaching style is superb. Like since couple of days, I was feeling that I'm doing rote learning, but today's class, but his today's class gave me different insights, and now I am motivated again and studying again. Right? I don't know, I should have said this or not, but I think we must appreciate for all the efforts all of you mentors are making. So, I mean, these are the kind of feedback that we get for Samachar Manthan, right? So, the point I am trying to make is that Samachar Manthan is something which covers all of your current affairs problems. It helps you understand the topic or issues in depth. It makes sure that your notes are ready. It helps you understand and helps you link your static knowledge with the current affairs properly. And then at the end of that week, it tests you. It tests you in the mains, which is your weekly mains test, and model answers, 5 questions. And then it tests you on the prelims, which is 20 questions. You do post-test discussion, PTD, and then you take feedback, and then you keep on improving. And I showed you a lot of copies of the aspirants also, right? So all in all, make sure that this is the way you are covering your current affairs. Do not miss Samachar Manthan weekly test for prelims and mains. Come offline, sit with your teachers. Make sure that you bring your copies and notes so that you can take whatever feedback is needed. With that, we are launching, if you are looking for a current affairs program, if you are struggling in covering current affairs, etc., we are launching Samachar Manthan 2026-2027 for beginners, working professionals, for people who are struggling in current affairs. The batch is starting September first week. There is a number below here. Call on that number. I'll be picking up the call. You'll be speaking to me directly. I'll help you understand the program better. We are providing certain scholarship also for the aspirants. Do join Samachar Manthan. The batch is starting September first week. So see you soon inside the program, and all the best for preparation.